Hi there, my name is Stephen Bacon, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. So this is something I'm quite excited about. I'm doing another one of my IndieGoGo spotlights. I don't know anything about this guy. Okay, I've seen his book. It looks really, really cool. I thought we'll bring him on the channel and we'll schmooze a bit about comics and where his comic came from. And hopefully a fun time we have by your fine. So Michael Bancroft, please join me. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I don't know if I can quite match your enthusiasm, but I'll do my best.
Well, what time is it for you?
It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, a Sunday afternoon.
Okay, fine. So you get you get the chill out. I'm sorry. This is Sunday morning for me. Sunday in Israel. I live in Israel. We don't have Sundays. We go straight into Monday. I've had my coffee. I'm ready to go. First thing in the morning. Yes. Right. So Michael, tell me a bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I'm not a comic book maker by trade. I have a full-time job, but I grew up reading comics. That was my thing, and I always stuck with the art. And about 10 or so years ago, I decided I was going to do a crazy thing and tell a story. And
Right.
it took a long time for that to coalesce into anything useful or valuable. And about 5 years ago now, I decided that I was going to make a comic book out of it.
Right.
And so I pulled together all of my my skills that I'd gathered over the years and set myself on that crazy journey. So who am I? I'm still, I'm a graphic designer by trade. I work full time as that, but in my spare time, I've been making this comic, and I've been making it for about 5 years. And now, over the last 6 months, all of a sudden, I'm also a YouTuber.
Okay. Well, you only started a channel 6 months ago.
I think so. Yeah, maybe a bit longer now.
Good. I think you got more subs than me. I started like 2 years ago. A year ago, year and a half.
I got lucky with a couple of videos that went sort of viral-ish for someone, with a channel our size. So 6,000 views or something like that, and I've gotten a bunch of my subs from them.
Yeah.
I did some little cartoons of Ethan Van Sciver ranting about certain things, and and they just were really popular, and I think I got a lot of attention from them. So people came to my channel through there.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Have you been on Ethan's channel?
Not been on, other than just a call-in show to say hello.
No, fine.
Yeah, but
so you said you grew up reading comics. What comics did you read growing up?
Spider-Man was my big one. So I was a Spider-Man kid, and we're talking in the early 90s. So I was reading Amazing Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and then eventually the newer one, which was the one that I think Todd McFarlane did a cover for. And I think you drank for it for a while, but it may have been a little bit before my time. No. But Ghost Rider, a little bit of X-Men. I like all the the Johnny Blaze stuff. I'm a Marvel head. I was a Marvel head, a Marvel kid, and it was about in the mid to late 90s that I had to kind of quit collecting off the newsstand because there were too many crossovers and events and everything, and I couldn't afford it anymore because the only way I could even get these books in the first place was I had to walk to school. My mother would give me a couple of dollars to catch the bus, so I'd have to walk to school every day so that I could save up those dollars by the end of the month.
That's what loving comics looks like, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, this is why I love ComicsGate in general. ComicsGate, because people who make comics, I do so. I think because you don't have a choice. Like it's just like you. I mean, so it's in you, and you have to do it. Like because it's a nightmare. Anybody who doesn't make comics should know it's a freaking nightmare. You have to work on it like non-stop for years and years and years and years to get anywhere. But the other side is you can do something on your own. I'm being from Australia. I thought you were going to say that you grew up reading 2000 AD and just read. I'm really surprised you're a Marvel head.
Yeah, no. I know that you spoke to Rob Arnold, and he says where he grew up there were no Marvel comics. I had the exact opposite experience in Melbourne here. I mean, it was Marvel was huge here, there were plenty of comic book shops, and every weekend that's where I'd go. I'd get on the train and just go out, even if I didn't buy anything, just to sort of, browse through all the long boxes and everything.
We had a shop in London where I grew up called Forbidden Planet. I used to live there. Freaking loved it. Oh man, it's just even the smell. I just love it. And it was kind of like newsprint and BO, but it just like it has a wave of nostalgia of me. So fine, let me pull up your campaign. We can start talking about it. 1 second. Chrome tab. It's there you go. The Lucent Waking Dream. So you wrote and did the artwork on this, right?
Yep. I'm the only person working on it.
Yeah. Listen, again, that's comics, right? That is 100% comics. So you launched the campaign when? In May? At the beginning of June? May?
I think it was either the end or the start of May. It's all a blur now. It's all kind of blurred into one just period. It was 2 months ago, essentially. 2 months and a couple of weeks ago.
You did very well. I mean, what was your goal?
Oh, I had just like a $2,000 US goal.
Tell you, blew through that. How soon did you blow through that?
I think that happened within hours.
Oh,
within 3 hours.
Oh, you made my heart swell. I'm so happy for you. I really am.
Yeah, it was a moment of shock for me. I was actually on a stream. I was on a Greater Point 5 stream, and I had no idea how this book would be received. It's not a book with traditional superheroes and big guns and all that sort of stuff. So I really had no idea.
The thing that brought my eye to it straight away was honestly, I'm not a big superhero-y person, in general, but it's got this real cool kind of Matrix vibe to it. It's got this kind of hard-edge science fiction, bending reality kind of vibe to it, which I just find so fun. So tell me about the story and what it is. What is the Lucent Waking Dream?
Yeah, so it's the Lucent. It's an ongoing series. So this is the first book I plan on putting out. Right. And in the Lucent, you're right. Sci-fi, fantasy. I fully and openly say that it, in part inspired by movies like The Matrix that do bend reality. Right. And it's think of a world. It's our world. But you've got these ancient shadow secret societies, and they've been around since the beginning of civilization. And essentially, they're training people to tap into abilities that are inside them that have been kept from the rest of us. They find the people who have kind of a unique connection to it, a stronger connection to it than most of us. Right, and they tap into these. It's all got something to do with dreams. I can't say too much because the story is a mystery. I like to keep the mystery going.
I love this UV spot cover. But I love the gift that you did for it as well. But that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
What tier is that on?
That's everyone's getting that.
Again,
everyone gets that.
That's the great thing about crowdsourcing. The better you do, the better everybody does. Fantastic. Yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that.
I conceptualized this cover, and I was like, having that, the kind of the puddle and it's all, multi-dimensional. It's even got, 2 different perspectives at the same time and everything. And then I researched how much it costs to get UV spot print. And again, I had no idea how well this campaign would go. I didn't know if I'd get 100 backers. Right. And I was like, that would be a real shame if I couldn't actually do the UV spot on this, because it was really, I really conceptualized that from the get-go to have the UV spot to really hammer that idea home. Right.
So wait, you say that there's these ancient societies. Are they do they each one has its own agenda and faction, and they kind of are they working with each other? Are they against each other? Or you tell me.
I can't go into that too much, but basically, when the main timeline of this story happens, there's really only one major one left. Just like in the real world, when you get people competing against each other over a long period of time, eventually one or two will sort of rise to the top, and you'll either get a monopoly or a duopoly. and that's sort of the world that the current world that we find ourselves in. But what I'm talking about here is more about the broader story behind the Lucent, and that's going to be unveiled and explored as the books continue. This first book is sort of your if like you said, like Neo in the Matrix or Luke Skywalker in Star Wars. This first story is really about Ella, and that's the woman on the front cover, and it's about her. She's just a normal person. She's kind of a bit like us. She has no idea about any of this secret hidden stuff, and this first book, it's her sort of stepping into the first time to see behind the curtain, so to speak. Events will take place, and she'll eventually, by the end of the book, be thrown right into this world, and that's kind of the start of her journey.
Right. How many pages is this volume?
The book itself is 76, but the story is 56, and I am toying with the idea.
That's a nice mini volume. That's good.
Yeah, there's additional content and stuff, a little bit of extra world building that I'm going to put in there. But I might actually bump it up to 80 page with 60 pages of story, because why not?
Exactly. 100%. I hear. Listen, I want to say, anybody watching this, the link to this campaign is in the video notes. Please, can I ask you to click the link and just consider it. Just consider it, because we keep saying how miserable we are that in the fandom menace that the narrative has been taken away and been usurped in just everything we love, in every piece of entertainment. New voices is what we need. New voices is so vital, and we need you for that. We're all in this together. So listen, click the link if you can consider backing it. Thank you so much, and I think you're going to get a fantastic deal for it. When do you think you'll be shipping this book? Now, shipping, God knows when you're going to get it. But when do you think it's going to ship?
Look, I've been saying this since the beginning. Being that this is my first campaign, I'm finalizing colors. We can get a bit into later about how much the book is done, but I'm thinking months, 3 months sort of deal. I've put in on IndieGoGo, I said, the whole year it's going to take, but it's not going to take that long. The book is majority done. I just need to finalize all the colors and the lettering and stuff like that. And if I
coloring this yourself as well?
Yeah, I'm doing everything.
The coloring is. By the way, I wish I could zoom in on this. Maybe you sent me the PDFs. I love the acting, the expressions you're getting here on the characters.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's something that I really take a lot of time to get right. I like I said, not being I wasn't raised, I wasn't trained or anything to be a comic book artist. I didn't realize that was an issue. That people have problems sometimes with getting all that expression into the characters' faces. So I was just thinking it's got to be like a movie. The actors or whatever, they have really strong expressions on their faces. So yeah. Thank you for noticing that.
I have to tell you, I got to disagree with you strongly on one thing. You keep saying this is the second time you said it, that you weren't trained to be a comic artist, comic creator. I have to disagree with you, because you have a love of comics in you, and you spent, how many years have you spent reading comics? How many times do you walk to school so you can get that comic? What other training is there? Honestly, what other training is there other than loving?
No, that is true. That is a point.
I'm sorry. I'm just
when you grow up in it.
A renovation's done in my house right now, and I could just see the workmen outside my window here. They're about to hook up the plumbing for this thing going on in my sink upstairs. So if you hear things clunking around, I do apologize. But Karen, can I ask you?
That's all right. That's all right.
Do you work from photo reference or do you work from imagination? Because I draw comics. I don't consider myself a real. I would say you're much more of a real artist than me. I work very heavily from photo reference because it's all I can do. But,
I know. I'm unabashedly. I have no problem working from photo reference to find certain how real can you get something to look if you're just doing everything from your imagination. So I'll check out buildings and stuff. That bookstore there is actually a real bookstore where I used to go, and it was my secret place where they had all these really cool old back issues there. Unfortunately, that's closed down now, but so I had to put that in there. But I'll use whatever I can to get this thing created. Unfortunately, for a scene like that you've got there in the cave, there's no photo reference for that. You just got to pull that out of wherever you can.
I do the same. Like again, I just I think of moves. I love this. This has got a very what's the thing? Kelly Thompson feel to it as well. Have you ever seen the stuff on Sandman? But I think it's a bit more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, it's when I first developed this story, I hadn't actually thought it was going to be a comic because I'm like you. People who make comics are crazy. It's an insane amount of work.
Yes.
But when I realized that I really had to tell it as a comic, it was really the only medium which I could tell the story that I wanted to tell in. Yeah. I actually, at that time, was looking more at European style comic books, French and Italian. And I was really digging their way of presenting comics and art and everything. And it is a bit more, how you say, like realistic. It's less cartoony. It's more cinematic. So that's where I drew a lot of my inspiration from.
So like, would an ultimate goal of yours be to do a hardback, like a French edition, like something like that, or is that something you're not interested in?
No, absolutely. When I first started it, I actually laid it out as an oversized hardcover thing. That's where a lot of the work has actually gone into, is getting this down to a more American-sized, normal. It's gonna have a it's gonna be perfect bound, so it's gonna have a thick cover, but it's not going to be hardcover. So a lot of work has been to like reformatting it down to that, making sure it all still works and reads well and everything like that. But definitely in the future, especially given the response that the campaign's had, I would love to do a nice. I've got them all over the place around here. Stuff like this, like that.
Oh, lovely. So look, on a complete fantasy level, where would you have to get to on your campaign to consider doing that?
I haven't even spec'd the numbers, but what I did is I looked at how much it costs to print, and I looked at how much it costs for the shipping. Because being in Australia, the shipping can be really high. For everyone has to sort of pay higher shipping when you get above 500 grams. And I just didn't look any further. I saw that and I said, well, there's no way. I mean, we would be talking probably a 6-figure campaign.
Okay, so are you printing locally in Australia, or are you printing remotely? And are you filling yourself? What's your plan?
Well, I was planning on printing locally. Everyone in ComicsGate that I know, not everyone, but a lot of people are using Mixam, and I've gotten a bunch of books from that company, and I'm really impressed with the quality of their printing and all their options, and they're really transparent in terms of their prices and everything. But then I found out that the Australian Mixam is actually really limited in what they can offer, and they're more expensive. It actually is going to cost me less to print the book in the UK and get it shipped back through Mixam than to do it here with with Mixam Australia or other printers that I've asked in Australia for quotes. And so I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do that. I really trust in that company in terms of I've got about 5 books now who've used that company.
Okay. If anybody hear somebody shouting in a foreign language, that gentleman is Mudgley. He's fantastic. He's a contractor.
He's a good plumber.
It's not. I'll tell you, if it was only a plumber, oh my God. I've had my floors ripped up for like 6 weeks. It's been a nightmare. It's been an absolute nightmare. I've been living in my basement, but he does everything. He's just a guy. But he's right now. He's calling up to the plumber. I think like send pipes down. It just happens to be happening right outside my window at this moment in time. So what can we do?
What can you do? It's the same thing. I do my streams from this little room here. It's out in the backyard. There's a tin roof on it, so if it starts to rain, everyone gets that nice pitter patter noise when I stream.
By the way, I have to tell you, I freaking love the coloring on this page. It is so good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
it just gives you that feeling of this guy consumed with flame and it just comes out so well.
Yeah, because I never gave up on the drawing, I found that I could look at sort of whoever I want and just sort of take bits and pieces fairly easily from their style. Like, oh, this is how they draw hands, or this is how they draw buildings, or whatever it is.
Right. I do as well. Like, whenever I get stuck, I just go to my comic
exactly.
Like who does that?
How did it's like things like how did they draw a stormy sea or something like that?
Right.
And I found that I could handle that pretty easily. But when it came to the coloring, it's been a battle, and it was only in the last year where I really said to myself, if I want this book to be what I really want it to be, what I think it needs to be, I'm going to have to actually learn how to color properly. So I spent a long time. I was on YouTube. I was going through tutorials and all that sort of stuff, really digging into the color theory. And I'm so glad that I did, because it's probably been the number one thing that people have commented on, that they really dig the colors.
It's very good. Well, I have to tell you, I'm loving this the scene transition on this page, where I'm assuming it's like some kind of flashback or some reality bending thing.
That's pretty close to it.
Following. It's really good. I love the Roman soldiers. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, they're having a bad day.
They are not having a good day. Well, where is this set? Is this in London? Is this in England, or where is this? Right.
So the Lucent, because it deals with these ancient civilizations and stuff, ancient secret societies. There's actually 3 timelines that will run throughout the entire series, and the first one starts about 6,000 years ago. In I guess what we would call the Middle East now. And there's also another timeline that's set a couple of thousand years ago, and that's what we were seeing there with the Romans. And then there's the main bulk of the story happens in modern day. But those stories we kind of watch them unfold on a sort of parallel track. And then part of the mystery is how does all this stuff interconnect?
Right.
Part of the fun for me.
Let's talk about the different rewards you got here. So you got this. The featured one is you get a signed book and fold out poster. Where's the fold out poster? Is it it's down here, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, see that if you scroll back up, to those buildings, to the scenery, the land, the skyline, and everything.
Right.
That's actually a double page spread in the book.
Oh, I have that on a PDF. I'll show them.
Actually, I've got it here.
What?
I've got it here. This is a print. This is my test version of it. Unfortunately, the one that will be sent out will have a fold in
it. Remove this so we can see it a bit better. But I'm going to remove myself. Actually, I can't do that. But yeah,
it's all right. Unfortunately, the one that will be packaged out will have to have a fold in it, because it's got to be folded to fit into the thing.
Right.
But yeah, it's going to be this is the size of it, and there you go. And it's really, again, this is Mixum as well. They really do great work with the colors and everything.
Right. So that package is how much? It's coming at that's 61 Australian dollars. What was that in US and in sterling?
Oh God, you're testing my memory now. 61 Australian. I think that was something like $45 or something like that, or $40. Yeah, $40. I think that was. The book itself was supposed to be $25 US.
Right.
That's what I remember. And I had a whole bunch of other tiers up there while the campaign was still live. It's in demand now.
You finished this one. This is a great one. You put more on. Sign booking. Oh, you cover up. Is there another tier where people can buy the art or not?
There was, but I ended up taking them down because I said I just wanted to focus purely on getting the book finalized and getting out there, because a lot of this stuff, because I'm actually a digital artist, and what I'm doing is I'm recreating the art tier, the pages, like recreating the cover by doing it traditionally.
Because digital changes the world. For me anyway, because it's so much more flexible. You can make mistakes and fix it.
Exactly. Exactly. But I did want to offer. Something that's traditionally inked for people who want to collect art. So all this stuff I have to actually still do. So when the campaign ended, I said, no, all these extra drawing things that I'm going to be doing, I want to just sort of know how much, I need to spend on materials and how long the time is going to be and everything like that. So yeah, and that I said to everyone, no, I'm going to keep them exclusive for the 60-day period that the campaign was live. But you can still get the book and the post and everything.
I got you too late. What can I say? So just looking at the going over this is the PDF show. Yeah, I have to tell you, you see this from somebody who's read a lot of comics. This innate storytelling. I see there's you have a few Alan Moore books on your shelf behind you. Would you say it's a big influence for you in terms of storytelling? Anyway,
absolutely. What have I got here? Yeah, V especially. I'm a massive V fan. It's actually, I know he didn't ever watch the movie, but I like the movie too. And I think you're right. I think you just kind of absorb this stuff over a long period of time. And
being able to see this page in full is so much better. I just freaking love this page.
Oh, that's great to hear. That's great to hear.
You must have heard it before. This is objectively good.
But it's always still good to hear when other people say it.
It doesn't hurt, does it? Let me zoom in on the next page. There we go down. There we go.
Yeah, so there you go. There's the big double page spread, and that's the page that we introduced the the heroine there. That's Ella standing on the ledge, and it's all one big metaphor about her, her journey in the story. She's it's all about having one foot on solid ground and one foot, stepping into chaos. And
really clever. Sorry, Karen.
I was just going to say, because a lot of the story deals with dreams and everything like that, it's sort of a recurring theme for her throughout the story, is this sort of dropping and falling from high places and launching into the unknown.
That there's a really great, was it Kent Williams Sandman story? It goes for 4 or 5 pages. It's just tiny, called about somebody falling in dreams. You should check it out. I think you would really like. I like it. I don't think this page is on the campaign.
This is. I sent you some of the secret source here, but I've actually shown this. I've actually shown this a few times, so it's not a problem to show it.
Okay, great. Oh, good.
So
I would have edited that out, but okay.
No, it's fine. This is the very beginning of the book, and this is what I'm talking about. There's certain timelines. So this one is actually set 6,000 years ago, and what it's going to probably do, it's a bit of it sets the tone of the story. It sets it just gives a little bit of a background, a little bit of foundation to everything that's taking place, and hopefully readers will be wondering, how the hell does this connect to anything that's happening in the modern day timeline? Right. And part of the fun, I think, will be as the books continue and more pieces of the puzzle get put down on the table, those connections will become clearer and clearer.
Okay, so how many issues would you say is the initial arc?
It's 7 all up, and it could be 6, but I wanted to make it 7 because it's how would I describe it? The story itself is sort of like a slow burn. I really love to do the big setup so that when all of the the events, all the major climaxes happen, they really mean something. And I've just been thinking it over and looking at everything that I've laid out and plotted, and I just thought, I would really love to give people who stick with the story and are really have by that time connected with the characters, give them just something monumental to finish with. And something they can really enjoy, and it's not rushed or anything like that. So it'll probably actually be 7 books all in all for the, and that'll be the
with issue 7 with your 7th book. Do a tier with the slip cover in it, so for the slip box where you can put them all in one thing. I would so love that. I would so back that in a second.
I've backed another book as well with a slipcover, and it was worth every penny. I love
They're
that
great,
stuff.
aren't they? They're absolutely great. There we go. Fine. I love the lettering as well. So, what was it? So, what's your process for making comics? Like how'd you start?
I start by going for a walk.
Okay.
And what I have is I just basically I have a document, and it's essentially the history of this story, and you know,
Right.
it goes all the way back, and it's just me, stream of consciousness, writing out the history of all the major events in this world as I know them. And you know, I that's where I select, you know, the scenes that I think need to make their way into the book from. So I'll see, okay, this scene needs to be in the book, so I'll go for a walk, and I will just sort of watch that scene in my head over and over again until I feel like that's how it would have happened. And then I'll run home, and I'll write it down in a, you know, Word document or something, because I don't have to give panel descriptions and everything to an artist and do all that stuff. I get to skip a lot of steps here.
Right.
So once I like what I've got there in terms of the script, I can just start plotting it out page by page,
Right.
and I do fairly loose sort of. I plotted the page fairly loosely. I've trained myself to be able to kind of ink straight away, and it seems to work out fairly well. That's another way that I've found to be able to hasten up the process. And yeah, the inking and the coloring are the sort of the bulk of the time that gets
See,
spent
I
on
have
it.
to tell you, coloring is something I do. I've done a bit of it, but on my last book, I'm like I said, no, I can't do this anymore. I got a colorist in, and oh my god, there's so much. It's so great. My dream is to have a campaign where I can afford a colorist and a letterer. That would be
Yeah,
fantastic.
that is so true. But there's it's actually, apart from getting the writing exactly where you need it to be, that's I think the best part of the process, because you're experiencing the story for the first time yourself, and if you can give yourself goosebumps, you know you probably hit the nail on the head. But apart from that, getting the coloring right is one of the best
Oh,
moments
yeah,
throughout the
yeah.
whole process, and just like sitting back and going, yes, that's what I was seeing in my head, and now it's
Yeah,
finally there on the page.
it's amazing though, because when we both grew up, I'm a bit older than you. When we both grew up reading comics, coloring wasn't a thing. Coloring
Mm,
was just a functional thing they put in to make it
yep,
print and color.
it was
Now
almost like
it's all
flats.
part of the process.
Yeah, yeah, and then when the digital coloring first came in, I was not a fan at all. I did not like it. I preferred the older methods, because they were still printing on newsprint for
Right,
a long time, and it was just ended up like mud. And
right.
yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, I really liked. What was it? There was a Daredevil run, Daredevil book by Bendis, where it was Alex, was it Maliv did the artwork on it, and it was a flashback one. So they did all the coloring they did for like everything set like 10 years in the 70s, where they did in the old like dot matrix, like kind of
Hmm.
like old. I really liked that. I thought that was really really cool. But yeah, no, I do hear what you say. Okay, let's talk about comics in general. Can you? I'm not going to put you on the spot and say what are your top 5 favorite comics. Give me 3 of the greatest comics of all time, according to you, and why.
I don't remember the exact number, but I when I started collecting back issues, I really dig the Craven's Last Hunt
Oh,
Spider-Man
great! That's great. I love that one.
run. Yeah, I mean, I can't. I've It's been a while now since I read it, but I just thought it was just a Spider-Man comic like none else that I've ever read, and you know, it has everything in it. You know, that he's just like, I think he's even essentially killed in that, you know, and he somehow climbs his way out, and, you know, and comes back. I love those kind of stories.
Right.
I Like I said earlier, V for Vendetta. I just, you know, it's just a fantastic graphic novel. And let me think.
You know, I read V for Vendetta when it was originally published in Warrior. in black and white.
Yeah,
It's so much
wow.
better in black and white. It's so much better in black and white. I love
Yes.
the coloring, but it's really good. Have they ever released a black and white version of that?
I don't know. The one I have has the
Really
coloring in it.
good.
Yeah.
Because it's was it David Lloyd? I did he has a digital comic called Aces. I had the series in one volume. But he had this whole theory with the lettering, because it was all in very stark black and white. There were no grey tones, and the lettering didn't have any lines around it. And the idea was that sound is not separate from sight in reality, and that was the whole idea what they were doing with that.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
no, I loved Sandman as well. That was really, that was kind of, I read that as I was just sort of coming out, growing up a bit away from the superhero comics, and so that just has that place in my heart. As comics can tell other kind of stories.
Looking at this book, it reminds me of a really good Vertigo book from like the late 90s. I think
that's cool.
But I think that, I mean, in the art and the feel, but like I think you're really nailing it. Like where you want to go here with it.
Yeah, there's superpowers in it. People have abilities, but it's not so much about that. I just love it's just a story about the things that I love. I love reimagining history. It's not exactly how we think it is. There's secret things that we're not all privy to, and powerful people have sort of taken control over things, and also, but then there's that fantastical element of what if you could do this? What if you could do that? And it is all of those things that there's bits in other stories. I've written on my campaign page, like you said earlier, The Matrix, it bends reality, stories that reimagine history, like The Highlander or Assassin's Creed. A lot of stories have elements of what I really like, but being a creator, you can take all those elements and put them all into your own story and have it all in one place.
And I tell you, making it is so much better. Like I don't understand people who I get growing up with Spider-Man, growing up with Judge Dredd. It'd be fun to do something in that universe. But making your own stuff is so much better. It's just so much better because you have complete control over the story. Yeah,
you get to actually live in that world inside your head, and then...
Oh, I'm just so glad I'm zooming in on this so I can see this in more detail. Look at this. Listen, click the link now. Click the link now. This thing, firstly, it's funded. You're going to get it. It's happening. But look, you want to get in on this at the beginning. You want to be able to say, I was there at issue 1. Click the link now, everyone. Look at it. It's freaking fantastic. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll just gushing.
This is as well here, why I love the coloring aspect of it. This was the result that, what we're seeing here is the result of me just kind of messing about, just trying things out, trial and error, and just, stumbling across this method that I've got here of getting this lighting and everything, and it just worked in a way that was pretty unexpected, and just wow, I hadn't seen that before, and that's so much part of the fun of it.
Right. What software are you using on this?
So when I did this this was done in Photoshop, the whole thing. I've moved away from Photoshop in the lineup now. I think I use Clip Studio Paint now. I think it's a much better program.
I started using it when it was Manga Studio, but now
Yeah. I think I just came on the cusp when they changed the name. But I'm still coloring in Photoshop. I think the new Photoshop has some pretty powerful things that speed up the process. But yeah, so I switch between the two. But all digital, and just there you go.
Yeah. Well, so this page, the lineup was done in Clip Studio, because I can tell the brushwork is lovely.
Really, these are actually Photoshop.
Is it really?
Yeah, you know what I did?
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
That's right. A lot of people didn't. They said it looks like it's traditional. You know what I did? I bought myself a really powerful computer, and then I just worked in super crazy high definition. We're talking resolutely huge canvas, 10,000 plus pixels wide or something like that. It gave the brushes a a lot better detail. You had a lot more control over it. It was the only way I found out I could get the strokes to look the way I wanted them to.
Those pages must take a long time to load when you're working on them, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm on like a what's it called again? iMac. I was the desktop Mac. But I mean, these pages must take a long time to load when you're making them.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When I bought the computer, the guy was like, "Oh, so what are you doing? You're making 4K video?" And I said, "No, I'm making a comic." He's like, "I didn't think you need to go this big." And I said, I'm gonna be working in some pretty big files, man. There's gonna be a lot of layers. Okay. They're gonna be huge."
As a consumer, I am. Because as soon as I finish this, I'm gonna back this book. So I really want to read it, right? As a consumer, I'm really glad you got that better computer. It looks wonderful. I'm so excited for this.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's great. So again, it's going to be shipping sometime within next year. Listen, I really hope it finds enough of an audience that you can do this full time. That you not have to deal with pain in the ass clients who say I'm a graphic designer. I know exactly what you deal with.
So you know the struggle.
Exactly. I really hope you can do this full time because I'd like to see like two or three issues a year. I mean,
that would be the dream, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be fantastic. Because this is a great story. This is a great story to be told.
That's part of the reason, you get onto YouTube and build that audience, because that seems to be the way. You get a stable audience of, 1,000 or more. Right. You can actually, live off them if you give them the product that they're asking for.
Right. So, well, okay, look, my plan is, I got a book. I'm like about 40 pages into now. I think I'm up to page 50. So, but when it gets closer to being finished, I'm gonna. But what I really like to do is one of those books a year, and I'd like to write 2 or 3 other books a year, and bring in other artists so I can do different strands. But that's the dream, right? It
is, yeah. It's it's easy to say these things, and then actually,
exactly. I tell you, look, I'm a rabbi, and there's this Kabbalistic concept which I found incredibly true. It's in the what's the English word of it? In Psalms. Okay, the Hebrew word is Tehillim. Where you get the verses. It doesn't matter if you're religious or not. The universal truths are universal truths. It's that whatever it is you truly want, like Ratson, it's something that you truly want in the deepest way that you end up getting. Like that desire, that need, that like deep-seated need creates reality. That like reality crumbles before it, and I think it shapes reality. So I think this is. All these comics that exist through ComicsGate are just born from this absolute need to speak in this medium and tell the story, and that's why I think that passion just bleeds through with every page. So I'm really hoping that your desire to make it brings it into the world. That you get like your campaign's doing well. I'd like it to get triple where it is right. Where's your campaign holding right now?
I think it's sitting on 26,000 US with 500 and.
Let's get to 100,000.
Yes, please.
Well, I mean, honestly, why not? Why? I mean,
there's no reason why not.
Yeah,
it's just about getting it out there in front of enough faces.
I'm sorry.
It's just about getting it out there in front of enough people.
Right. And, again, that's why it's such a pleasure for me to get people like you on the channel. But is there anything else that you would like to? Is there anything else you can throw in there to intrigue people to come? And if it's not, I think you've given us enough already. But anything, whatever pitch you want to give.
Well, I'd just like to say, because the campaign was so successful, not only does every single backer get the book, which is probably going to be 80 pages or 60 pages of story, hopefully. But it's definitely going to be at least 56. Everyone will get 2 prints, and there'll be, A4 size, what is that, 11.5 inch, 8.25 by 11.5 inch prints, and everyone will get a 10-page preview comic of the next book. And
Oh, cool.
this is actually like I call it like a bit like a balm that you can put on, because it jumps off after the directly the end of the first book. So you read the end of the first book and you go, oh, I really want to know what happens next. Well, I give you a little bit of a soother with that 10-page book. So you jump on, you get the book, everyone gets that stuff. So you get a really nice package delivered to you. When you open up, there's going to be lots of stuff in there. It's a really good bang for your buck. And also, just on a side thing, if anyone is interested in hearing more from me and all that sort of stuff, I actually have a YouTube channel as well. It's just my name there.
That's 100% in the I should have mentioned, I'm terribly sorry. That's 100% in the video notes right now. Go. Well, after you go and back the book first. Buy 3 copies. Because you're going to want one copy. You're going to want one copy to just like keep in the in that hard clear case, and you're going to want one copy to give to a friend, because it's such a good. Buy yourself 3 copies right now. Then go to your channel and subscribe. Right. That's what I would recommend.
I fully support that message.
Michael's not arguing. I'm not arguing. You should all do it. Fine. Let's wrap up. Thank you guys for watching. I have no idea when this is going out. Maybe Sunday. Maybe not. If you're also check the video notes. I do competitions each week. I don't know when this video is going out, but if the prize this week is the Godfather DVD Collection, freaking awesome prize. All you need to do to win it is subscribe to the channel. And then in the comments, leave the hashtag "You broke my heart, Fredo." You broke my heart, Fredo. I'll tell you what. If you back the book, I'll give you 10 entries. 10 entries into the competition. But you've got to be quick, because this prize is about a week late and is being given out tonight. Or in the past. If this video goes out on Sunday, this prize is being given out tonight. Get there quick. All right. Once again, go and back the book. Go and sub to Michael's channel. Thank you so much for coming on, and I just wish you every success.
Thank you so much, man. This has been a lot of fun. Thanks for the invite on.
Great. Thank you.